Hello, stranger. Happy free to bet day. What the hell does that mean? We'll tell you, but welcome back to DraftKings as the sweat inside our brand spanking new studio. I know it's about 60% complete. I'm Emerson Latzia. She is Jessie Cofield.
So, as Emerson mentioned, it's a special edition of the Sweat Free to Bet Day because it was on this day, May 14th of last year, that the Supreme Court legalized sports betting. So we're celebrating with $514,000 in free bets and giveaways. Ooh.
And for users of the DK Sportsbook app in New Jersey who are legal sports betting age.
How old is that?
21 and up. Duh.
Okay.
You get a free bet, $5.14. But wait, there's more.
Okay, so over $150,000 in the sweepstakes. Hit up DraftKings.com or the DK app to enter. 1,000 users will win a $51.40 free bet. 100 will take home 514 DK dollars, and 10 of you, that's right, 10 of you will win 5,140 DK dollars. That
so
sounds
I'm
pretty
sensing
good.
like a pattern here.
Yeah, the numbers.
Yeah, lots of fives and fours and ones, which is very creative. And we're boosting odds all day, a new one each hour. And for the 5 o'clock window, that's right now, the boost is the Bruins plus 150 to win the Stanley Cup. That was up from minus 103.
So it's time for us to zip it, be quiet, and let these guys do the talking. Say hello to our first DK Live panel of the night, Adam Levitan, Jeff Ulrich, and Steve Buchanan.
Wow.
Now, just in case you haven't been paying attention, which you should be, this is a big day for sports betting, but DraftKings is, of course, also a place you can still play DFS. So with that in mind, what strategies that work well for you when playing DFS are you more likely to avoid here when switching over to Sportsbook? Adam.
Yeah, I think in DFS, the general public is actually pretty sharp, especially these days with the games the way that they are. I think when a guy is 50, 60% owned in DFS, it's typically right because his salary is out of whack with his projection. I think in Sportsbook, the public is far more likely to be wrong. If you see 60, 70, 80% of people making a bet on one side and the line's not moving, there's a pretty good chance that all those people are on the wrong side of the game. So I think just weighing the public would be one big difference.
Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I know one thing just golf related mainly because that's one of the main sports that I follow. But, a lot of time in DFS, we're looking for guys with safe floor, guys who are going to insure us for a cut or maybe a top 20. But when I'm playing on a sports book and I'm betting an outright, I don't really care what his floor is. I don't really care if he misses the cut like 70% of the time. I care what his win rate is and how much potential he has for a win. And a great example of that is Matt Every last week at the Byron Nelson. This guy doesn't make a ton of cuts. He's boom or bust. He shoots 80 and then he comes back and shoots 66. He's a guy's got 2 wins already in his career. He's fully capable of taking down weak fields, and he almost did that last week. And he goes off at high odds. So it's definitely one way that I personally differentiate when I'm heading to a sports book versus making a DFS lineup.
Steve, what strategies are you avoiding?
Yeah, see, the nice thing about sports betting is who cares about ownership? Is Chris Sale going to be heavily owned tonight? Who gives a crap? That has nothing to do with it when you're doing sports betting. This is something that if you like to bet, you like to play, so you can lay some money down on it, and that's just the way you go towards it. You don't have to worry about chalk, contrarian options. All has nothing to do with it when you're doing sports betting, so I think that's a really cool part of it. If you like a play, doesn't matter what they're going to do. If they're going to win you the money, that's the way to go.
Big events this week. Oh, hello, PGA Championship. A lot of interest on DK Sportsbook for Big Cat following Tiger's stunning Masters victory. Jeffrey, you just mentioned you're a golf guy. How much of a mistake is it to fall in love with a good narrative when dealing with Sportsbook?
I mean, you're talking to Mr. Narrative himself. I mean, I'm the guy who chased Nick Foles in the backup quarterback narrative.
Yeah, we're not even going to get you started on Tevin Coleman either.
So, I mean, hey, I live for the narrative, but you really have to ask yourself, are these good narratives you're chasing, or are they just narratives that you think are cool and fun and not really good bets? We're taking the Tiger example, I think, is a good one, though. I mean, I think a lot of people actually got off Tiger this year a little bit too quickly. I mean, they forget to take into account that this is the greatest golfer ever who used to go off in major championships at 4-1, and people used to think that was a good price. If you still think Tiger is you want to chase that narrative, I don't think he's necessarily a bad chase this week at the PGA Championship, going off at 10 or 11-1, whatever he's at right now. But when you're looking at narratives, it is good to sit back and take a look and really try and think, is this like a good, sharp narrative maybe that I'm chasing, or is this just something that the public's making up? And like Levitan mentioned, maybe they're building up falsely. So
All right, Steve, what's your approach to Narrative Street here when it comes to the sports book?
Yeah, it's nice and all, but it's, kind of like BVP. Some people believe it. Some people
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
so much. But, kind of like what Jeff said, the public can obviously boost up something's value or whatnot, but obviously the stats are the most important thing. So I think, chasing a narrative like that, yeah, it's a great story. Is Tiger Woods a good story? Absolutely. Everybody was so, into that story and how he did and all. But, the narratives I'm not too excited about. Obviously just the stats are what's most important. So I don't tend to believe it too much, but, go BVP.
All right, Adam, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, Tiger is disaster at 10-1. I mean, if you look at the data and the true odds, then you would find Tiger probably should be closer to 15 or 20-1. But because he's Tiger Woods and everybody wants to have fun and have their Tiger Woods ticket, the odds end up around 10-1. So for me, if you're a Tiger fan and you want to bet and you're trying to have fun, I get it. From a purely EV perspective, I don't think Tiger at 10-1 is going to be a play. And I know he played really well at the Masters. I think that's like, I'm no golf guy, but I'm pretty sure that's basically his home course, and this is going to be a much different story.
All right, let's look to today. Steve, what games do you have your eyes on tonight in the world of sports in terms of good plays on DK Sportsbook?
Yeah, I like the Oakland Athletics and the Seattle Mariners going over 9 runs tonight. You got two mediocre pitchers at best taking the mound. The Seattle's bullpen is just an absolute disarray right now. And look, the Athletics, they really haven't hit their potential yet. They've got a ton of power, and I think that's still yet to come out here. But I like that game to go over 9 runs tonight, so that's definitely one of my favorite plays.
Adam, what games are you looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching basketball like a real sports fan. I'm watching Warriors. I'm watching Blazers, and yeah, I think I'm interested to see how the Warriors play without Kevin Durant. I know the narrative and everybody wants to say that Portland is the right side here just because Durant isn't playing. We have to understand that's completely factored into the line, and I think that actually it's probably been overcompensated a bit. So I think the Warriors are the right side here, but I'm interested to see how they play without KD.
Shots fired. Jeff, what are you keeping your eye on?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be like Adam and watch a sport where guys just take dives when they get, blown on or something, you can watch basketball with them. I'm going to watch hockey. I got my eyes on the Bruins tonight. I mean, they're heading in as underdogs after shellacking the Hurricanes 2 nights in a row with an injured Hurricane goalie. I mean, I got my eyes on the Bruins tonight for sure. I think they're going to turn out to be a good bet.
Adam, you were so much nicer when you were here in person for the Wrangler Draft Special.
Yeah,
but,
coward. Yep, he's at home. No
Cow-
problem.
Steve was
No problem.
here
Be all
too.
nice now. Buddy with me in person, but so it's cool.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
All right. You three hang tight as we have y'all sprinkled in throughout the show. We're taking everyone up to 7 o'clock tonight. But for now, here is Adam Kaufman and Pat Mayo looking ahead to some PGA Championship bets.
PGA Championship tees off Thursday, second major of the year. Adam Kaufman, Pat Mayo. And as of right now, Mayo, DK Sportsbook, Rory McIlroy has the best odds at plus 1,000. But Tiger Woods, he's right behind him. He's plus 1,100. So you think Tiger's going to pull off another major win on the heels of the Masters? What do you expect here?
Well, the big thing is when you're talking about golf wagering is that the favorites don't have as good of a shot to win as their odds may dictate. Like if Tiger is 10-1, 11-1, 12-1, wherever he ends up, does he really have that sort of chance to win? Probably not. But if you go down the entire list, everyone is always sort of overpriced. That's just the downfall with betting on golf. But I think that he definitely deserves to be the favorite, or at least one of the top 4 favorites. You see them all there at the top. They are separated from the rest of the pack. But if you had to say Tiger is going to win or one of the 155 other players are going to win, I'd probably take the 155 other players. Even of the very top guys, I'd probably have Tiger ranked like 3rd or 4th, probably not at the top.
Well, like Tiger, another golfer at plus 1,100, defending champ Brooks Koepka. He's 55 under the last 10 majors. That's 15 shots better than anybody else, coming off a 4th place finish last weekend at the AT&T Byron Nelson. So is he better equipped, you think, than Tiger to succeed this weekend at Bethpage?
I think so, just because of the daunting length of the course, at least at Augusta. And it didn't really factor in that much for Tiger that his drives weren't all that wayward. But when they are, you don't end up in the heavy rough. You end up in the pine straw. And if you have the experience at Augusta, you can navigate your way around that. Now, Tiger has been very good at Bethpage over the years. He won the U.S. Open here in 2002. He finished inside the top 10 again when the U.S. Open was held at Bethpage in 2009. So it's not like he doesn't know the course. And this will be the second time that Brooks has played it in a competitive fashion. It's just when you start talking about PGA Championships and how they've ratcheted up the difficulty just a little bit, and U.S. Opens, Brooks has won the past 2, that he's really geared for these courses where you don't only need to be super long off the tee, you need to be somewhat accurate. And if there's one thing that Tiger hasn't quite reclaimed since coming back, he's been tremendous. but the accuracy plus the distance isn't there. When he tries to really get out there, the accuracy goes a bit wayward. So someone like Brooks Koepka or even Dustin Johnson, I think skill-wise, may have an easier time of taking the PGA Championship. Not to say that Tiger cannot do it. He's just so skilled in every other facet that the path of least resistance doesn't lie with him. It relies with Brooks and with Dustin Johnson.
So some nice course histories there. Another guy who also has a pretty good course history, that's Jordan Spieth. He's still seeking that slam. Is this his time?
No, absolutely not. Credit to Jordan where it's due. I mean, he's won the Masters, he's won the U.S. Open, he's won the British Open. He has the holy trinity of actual majors. I mean, although this is now being held second in the year, the PGA Championship is a distinct fourth between all of those. But the career slam is always nice. We talk about it with Rory every year at Augusta. Can he win the Masters? Can he complete the career Grand Slam? It's always a big story. That's not really getting talked up with Jordan Spieth this time around because Jordan Spieth has just been god-awful, to tell you the truth. Like you look at his odds right now, he's in like 45 to 1, 40 to 1, 50 to 1. It depends on where he ends up come Wednesday, but these are like the same odds that he gets to win at like Trinity Forest a week ago. Like it's kind of insane that he's still being valued this way at majors when he should really be like 80 to 1, 100 to 1.
All right, so aside from Tiger, aside from Brooks Koepka, a number of former PGA Championship winners are in action this weekend. Do you see any of these former champs making noise?
The biggest one to me, I mean, obviously Rory can make some noise. He's a part of that big four group. So you might want to disclude him from this conversation along with Brooks and Tiger. It's the next guy up. It's Justin Thomas. And he injured his wrist at the Honda Classic back in early March. And his game really kind of went off the rails. He had been basically the best player on tour ball striking wise up until that point. Then you see him again, all of a sudden, like the players and the irons are off. The match play, the irons are off. Although he did play the Masters and he came inside the top 12. That's a pretty good finish for anyone at Augusta. The big red flag that a lot of people had was at Quail Hollow 2 weeks ago where he won the 2017 PGA Championship. He decided, you know what? I want to get myself healthy. I want to gear up and try to peak for a second major, and he skipped that event. Now everyone's like in full panic mode. His odds have been severely decreased. It's kind of stunning. Like he should be closer to that top end with the Brookses, the Tigers, the DJs, and the Roys of the world. Him and Justin Rose are the two guys in this field that seem like they're mispriced in terms of odds. So I think if you're just looking for value on any of these guys that have a realistic shot of winning, Justin Thomas is probably the guy because I think he's a whole lot healthier than people think.
Slate-approved pick, lock of the tournament. Who you got?
I got myself some Xander Schauffele. Like I mentioned, he's been peaking for these majors. He's played really well at the past two U.S. Opens. He's won the Tournament of Champions. He's won the Tour Championship. He's won a WGC. He's checked off every box that you need to see and been competitive, plus a top 5 finish at the Masters about a month ago. I think he has the right distance. I think he has the right accuracy, and he clearly has the mentality to play these grinder-type courses that you wouldn't expect from him. He can play shootouts. He can play when the winning score is -5. So Xander Schauffele is my approved pick for the PGA Championship.
Well, he doesn't golf as well as he talks about golf, but he's our champion. Pat Mayo, thanks, bud.
Thank you.
Welcome back to this special Free to Bet Day edition. Free to bet, not free to bet.
Yeah, it's
free
not like
to
Brad
bet
Pitt in the country.
Edition of the Sweat. I don't know what you're looking at over there. To
Sorry.
celebrate the 1-year anniversary. So let's chase or fade PGA Championship bets with our best friends, DK Live's Jeff Ulrich and Reed Fowler.
Okay, I know it's been a while, you two. So in case you forgot, chase or fade means agree or disagree. Kick us off, Jeff. Rory McIlroy with the best odds to win the PGA Championship right now on the DK Sportsbook. Chase or fade that Rory is the man to beat at Bethpage.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I know how the games are played. It's Reed who always gets it wrong.
Well,
I'm going to fade Rory being the man to beat here. And there's a couple very obvious reasons why. First of all, Tiger Woods is the man to beat right now. I don't care what anyone says. Bethpage Black is essentially a course that he's done very well at over his career. And he comes in first in greens and regulation. You're going to have to pound greens all week at Bethpage Black if you want to stay in contention. And you don't want to start making huge scores on all these holes. Tiger Woods has been very good at that the last 2 times he's played here. So Tiger Woods, for me, is the guy you want to beat. Also, you look at Rory's major championship record, all the wins, all of them, have come on easy-to-play, score, birdie fest. It's not going to be that. That is not the way Bethpage Black plays. You got narrow fairways, thick rough, hard to hit greens. That has not been Rory's cup of tea at major championships in the past, so I fade this 100% that Rory's the man to beat this week.
All right, where do you sit on this, Reed? Because Rory appears to be more confident than ever right now, especially with the driver.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm going to fade Jeff, just being a guy who likes golf or thinks about golf regularly. Yep, Sweat Meter, we're back, baby.
Let's
go! In all seriousness, I actually kind of agree with Jeff here.
What?
Rory, look, Rory is number one in all statistical category if you look at strokes getting off the tee, proximity at 200 yards, I mean, he hits it a mile. But he's right with Tiger in terms of what you want to do, not just with the approach, but with getting in the fairway, right? I mean, this is going to be a long course. If it's wet and if it stays wet and moist like it has been this entire spring up here in the Northeast, it's going to be tough. And you want guys that are going to be able to hit it in the fairway. The guy to beat is Dustin Johnson. It's not Tiger Woods, as we talked about, as Levy talked about earlier. It's not him with the inflated odds, and I get it. He won the Masters, and that's great, and it's a narrative, but it's Dustin Johnson. It's not Tiger Woods.
Okay.
I don't know. He gives a lot of reasons to like Rory, though.
And he's a good play.
All right, guys. Jason Day with top 10 finishes in the Players and the Masters. So, Reed, chase or fade that Day at plus 300 to finish in the top 10 is a safe play.
Yeah, no, I'm going to chase this. I really love Jason Day, especially at these majors. Like, we always see Jason Day when you talk about these bigger tournaments, these majors, really kind of go off to where where the elite guys aren't, right? We have the DJs, the Rorys, Tigers, who are all up here at plus 10 for futures bets. Then you get Jason Day at 22-1 to win. Then you get him at plus 300 to get him to finish top 10. Look at Firestone Country Club, at the Barclays here in 2016, where we saw Bethpage play in most recent years. Jason Day came top 4. Look, he even said after that tournament that he was, I think, hitting it all over the yard, and he only hit about 36% of the fairways, but he was elite with his approach, elite with his putting, elite with his, around the green. And that's really why I like Jason Day, that if one part of his game is off, he has other places in his game where he can actually come to a top 5 to where even if his driver isn't working, where he hits it out a mile, he can still finish with an elite top 5 or even win this tournament. So I do like that.
So we have, sorry to cut you off, we had 99 of the top 100 golfers in the World Golf Rankings are going to be taking this course this week. It would be 100, but Justin Thomas withdrew yesterday. You just heard Pat Mayo talking a little bit about Thomas, but we did tape that yesterday, so don't hate Pat too much for that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Jeff, we got Reed chasing it. What are you doing here?
I hate Pat because he picks Luke List every week. Not because of that. I mean, look, Jason Day, I could make an argument. He's obviously had the back issues all year, and he's a bit of a risky play whenever you're taking him for like a top 10 or a top 20 just because of that. He could withdraw, but I want to chase it too. Jason Day is kind of the opposite in Rory in some respects, in that he's played these tough U.S. Open style courses very well over his career. He's got the top 5 already at Bethpage Black. And you look at his record this year, 4 of the last 7 starts, he's finished inside the top 10. And I mean, these have been on some tough courses. The Farmers, I mean, the Masters, the Players. So, I mean, this is a guy who's performed at tough U.S. Open venues all over his career. He's got experience playing. He's actually played pretty well on the East Coast, too. Add into the fact that you're going to see fast POA bent grass greens this week. Jason Day has some of the best POA bent grass greens putting splits on the entire tour. So, yeah, I definitely don't mind this bet at all. Jason Day, maybe not my pick to win, but he's definitely someone you should look at in DFS as well.
Well, the last PGA event held at Bethpage Black, this course was the 2016 Barclays, which is now known as the Northern Trust. That was won by Patrick Reed. So, Jeffrey, chase or fade that Reed at plus 7,000 to win is actually a great play this weekend.
This is a full fade for me. It's not just because his last name is Reed, and I just want to, throw some shade on Reed, the other.
Well,
they're
make sure
spelled
you know
differently
that.
here.
Make
Come
sure
on.
he knows
You're
that.
reaching here.
Okay.
Like when Patrick Reed won this event in 2016, there's a couple things people need to know. First of all, it was in August, or faster greens, but the rough wasn't as thick either, and he was spraying it. He was only 50th in driving accuracy that year. You look at the winners of the U.S. Open when it was played here in Bethpage Black, they both ranked inside the top 10 in driving accuracy. That included Tiger Woods back in 2002. Really not accurate a driver usually when it comes down to it. So Patrick Reed also coming in with just not good form. I mean, he couldn't even take advantage of a weak field to get it going last week at the Byron Nelson. Showed a little bit of something of the Wells Fargo, but you add in this recent form and the fact that I think this course is going to play a lot differently, a little bit longer than it did the last time Patrick Reed won. No, I don't like Patrick Reed at all. I think if you're going to look for a long shot, go a little bit longer. Go for a guy like Siwoo Kim, a big game hunter. Go with a guy like Scott Piercy, who's just absolutely tee to green, immaculate right now, but not Patrick Reed for me this week.
Reed, listen to this fact I found on the Google machine. The only 2 golfers in the field who have both won a tournament at Bethpage and won a major in the last 5 years, Tiger Woods and Patrick Reed. So a plus 7,000. So you could play here?
Man, it took him 2 months to do his homework, and finally he comes up with a good stat. I like
Thank
that stat.
you.
And on free to bet, day, not free to bet day. I want to disagree with Jeff as much as possible, but he's exactly right. Patrick Reed is he's not a good bet at plus 7,000. Look, even when you look at the Barclays, right? They made it easier. They made it way easier than it's going to play. They changed one of their their par fours when it was a par for the U.S. Opens to a par 5, make it one of the easier par 5s across the tour. So again, even if you just look at how they set up that course, Barclays was an entirely different set of standards that you need to do well there. If you just look at Patrick Reed as well, off the tee, not good. And really where you see Patrick Reed is putting usually, and then proximity with those long irons. And 200 plus yards, if he's not getting it out there far enough on this long course, he's ranked close to the bottom in proximity over the last 24 rounds at that distance. So if he's not able to get anything going, it's just a bad bet. You have Gary Woodland right at 66 around there. Rafa Cabrera at plus 100 or 10,000 in there as well. So you have other guys, and just look where his price tag is too. Paul Casey, Patrick Cantley. These guys are at 33 to 1, right? And he's up here in that same price tag on DraftKings, and he's at 70. Something's not lining up. So I agree with Jeff here.
All right, excellent work, guys. But now let's hear from the real geniuses around here who I sat down with earlier. Exactly 1 year ago on May 14th, the Supreme Court repealed a previous ban on sports betting, which opened the doors for people across the U.S. to bet legally. In honor of the occasion, I'm joined by DraftKings co-founders Paul Lieberman, Jason Robbins, and Matt Kalish. Guys, thank you for joining the program.
Thank you.
All right, so Jason, what's been going on at DraftKings today to honor this momentous occasion?
Today's a big day. For us, doing something to commemorate PASPA being repealed was a really important thing. So we are launching the first inaugural free-to-bet day. We're going to give away over $500,000 to customers, actually $514,000 in honor of the day to be exact. And we're really excited about it. We have a number of different promos mixed around free bets, special props, and odds boosts. Lots of really cool, exciting stuff for people. And we're also going to have a few fun things on the marketing side that we'll be putting out there as well.
Awesome. Now, Paul, can you take the people behind the curtain of all that work that went into building the Sportsbook product from scratch before the Supreme Court ruling was even repealed?
Yeah, so as soon as we thought that there was an opportunity, we started building the product. A lot of work, a lot of design, a lot of user research. We talked to customers, we talked to bettors, we talked to people that were casual that have never bet before. And we spent a year looking at what other European companies have done, what other people have done in the US and Nevada. And ultimately, we built a product that we thought would be very compelling to everyone that plays on the DraftKings Sportsbook. It's been a lot of work, and the team has done a great job. And what I'm excited about is all the things that are in store in the future. We're launching a bunch of new products. We're going to make it a lot easier, a lot more fun, better live experience, and that'll be all coming for this NFL season.
We love new and exciting stuff. Now, Matt, what has the legalization of sports betting meant to DraftKings and its growth over the last year?
It's really accelerated our growth a lot. Our fantasy sports business has grown every single year since we launched, so that continues to do really, really well. However, with sports betting, we wanted to make sure that we were putting out a best-in-class product, getting our experience the way that an American customer would expect it to be. So that means for us, we want to have everything that a customer is looking for to bet on, do that at really, really great paybacks and odds, make sure our rewards, our promotions, everything are up to par, the best in the market. So we had to grow our team. We've set up a new office in San Francisco as well as in New Jersey and Las Vegas. So 3 new offices within the year. We've doubled our team to over 700 people, and we continue to grow. So it's a really great next vector of growth for us to really supplement what's going on in fantasy.
Now, a lot of iconic moments over the past year. So in a year filled with all these moments, how are we showing our appreciation for the customers who have been with you guys since the beginning and really been part of this journey?
Well, we're going to do a lot of really big giveaways today. As we mentioned, we're giving away over $500,000, and we're going to have a lot of really cool, exciting Easter eggs, drawings, things for people. But that's just the start. We have a really fun slate of things planned for this summer, and this football season, college and NFL coming up is going to be the biggest one yet. We have so many big things planned for that. And I just want to touch on something too. When Paul is talking about all the work that went in, I think it's a real testament to the team here. They've never built a product like that before, and they just sort of figured it out. They got their hands dirty. They studied the market. As Paul noted, a lot of really what we had to study was European and other international companies, because that's where most of these things are built out of now, and that's because that's where the market has been basically. And we think we're able to really build a lot of the best-in-class stuff and also leverage a lot of the existing things that have already been proven to work. But one really important thing we always said was, this whole thing started with the three of us in Paul's spare bedroom in the United States, thinking about the U.S. consumer. Fantasy is a uniquely American product. While I think a lot of the things that are being done overseas and a lot of the offerings are really relevant to the customer here, it's not totally built with the American customer in mind. And that's something that we're really trying hard to differentiate on. And it'll take time to have it fully come to life the way that we want to. But I think the team did a great job of looking at all the best-in-class things out there while also adding in a uniquely American twist.
Really a new frontier. And now a number of states have legalized sports betting. So, Paul, what do you expect for other states as the sports betting industry continues to grow?
That one's for Jason. It's right up your alley.
There we go.
He knows all this.
So I think that, this is just the beginning. It's very exciting to see and to be at the forefront of it. I know everyone around the country is anxious to be able to play on Sportsbook and, to be able to bet at least in the legal market. I know many are probably already betting on black market websites and mobile sites. And, we're working hard. We have a strong government affairs team that's, working to try to educate lawmakers. We have a product and tech team that's built a platform that allow us to rapidly deploy. So we'll try to get out there as soon as the regulators and laws allow it. And we're going to make sure that wherever possible, whatever we can control within the regulations, we're going to make it really easy for people. So as you're traveling state to state, you don't have to download new apps, you don't have to open new accounts. You just have your DraftKings thing. And I think that's really the vision, but it'll take a few years. And where everybody out there can help, if you want Sportsbook to come to your state, is write your legislator, write your governor, make it known that this is something that's important to you. That's how action gets driven.
Matt, anything to add to that there?
No, I think we're working really hard. I think everyone should know how hard we're working on making sure that we can put out a really great competitive product in the U.S., but do it legally, do it the right way, make sure customers are protected. And, we're competing with a lot of different groups that are, some of them are illegal offshore sports books. Some of them are, European or foreign entrants coming in with decades of experience, but in a different market. And we really want to just make sure what we put out there is a great, the best experience that we can possibly provide, but do it the right way. And we're putting a lot of time and energy on laying that foundation right now.
So, Jason, what other exciting offers can the customers expect to see as we celebrate the impact of sports betting on DraftKings?
One of my favorite ones is that anyone in New Jersey who comes and registers, you don't have to deposit, you just have to register and go through the KYC process to prove you're of age, but no need to deposit or anything. So if you're somebody who's never tried the product out before and you want a chance to do it for free and you don't want to have to take out your wallet, now's the time to do it.
Amazing, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on all of the success. We really can't wait to see what happens next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to The Sweat, a free to bet day special. Alongside Jesse Cofield, I'm Emerson Latzia, turning our focus now to the NBA Draft Lottery odds. And we have DK Live's Adam Levitan and Julian Edlow here to help.
So Cavs, Knicks, and Suns all have a 14% chance to land the number one pick in tonight's NBA Draft Lottery. But looking at this event from a sportsbook angle, as we do here, those teams are all plus 600 to win the lottery. But are you better off looking at a team like Atlanta, plus 830, 10.5% chance to win, or Washington, plus 990, 9% chance to win, who also have a relatively high percentage chances to win the pick?
Yep.
What do you think about this one? That was a lot of words.
You did it.
But Jules,
You did it. You
where are you
crushed
going
it.
with this?
Well, I mean, the thing about the NBA Draft Lottery is that we are not picking a side of a game or a side of a series. We are betting on what we think is math and what ping pong balls are going to come out. There's obviously a lot of drama in the NBA when it comes to is any of this rigged, but in terms of the draft lottery percentage numbers, the DK Sportsbook has this down. Like, all of these odds reflect the percentage chance that this team has to win the lottery. So these teams at the top, they're all plus 600. I don't think there's an edge either way here. I know that some people feel a lot more strongly about the Knicks, so to be able to get them at the same odds as the other teams, the Cavs and the Suns, in this same range, I guess that has a little bit of value to it compared to other places you may look. But this is just all breaking down math. Betting an NBA draft lottery is quite an event to bet on.
Adam, where does the math lead you on this one?
Yeah, the odds are all perfect, so I wouldn't make a bet there. The only way you can make a bet is if you go with the narrative that the NBA prefers Zion Williamson or, perhaps Anthony Davis in a trade situation to land with New York rather than Atlanta or Phoenix or whatever. But no, I don't think there's really a bet here to be made unless you believe in the conspiracy theories that run deep in the NBA.
So do you?
That's a good question. I've actually thought about this a lot, and under most circumstances, my answer would be definitely no. But man, there's been a lot of weird things that have happened in the NBA, so I'm gonna give it like a 10% chance that this thing's actually rigged.
So, I mean, one quick thing just to add on to it, if that is actually the case, you have the Knicks there at plus 600, but I'm just looking here down. The Los Angeles Lakers are plus 4,800 pretty much to get this ping pong ball. So if you do believe in that conspiracy and you want to see the Knicks get trolled and Lakers fans who just got LeBron last summer get Zion this summer, then you're getting 48-1 right there, and that's a pretty good number.
All right, well, odds aside, which one of the top three teams, New York, Cleveland, Phoenix, has the most to gain by landing the number one pick in Zion Williamson? Adam?
Yeah, it has to be the Knicks. I mean, they've pretty much mortgaged their whole future by giving up Kristaps Porzingis to allow themselves to do a lot with, if they get the number one pick, if they keep Zion, if they can make a deal for Anthony Davis, if they can bring in Kyrie Irving, if they can bring in Kevin Durant. So a lot of this optionality that they've created for themselves is predicated on landing the number one pick. So I think it's a huge gain for them. And if they don't get it, they're got to be pretty devastated.
Yeah, Jules, what do you think here? You heard Adam mention it. I mean, the report surfacing today that if the Knicks land the number one pick, they'll shift their focus to trading it for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I think that does make it a little more valuable to the Knicks. I mean, really, they all have the same thing in theory to gain here. That's Zion Williamson. But the Knicks, because of the offseason that they may have with Kevin Durant possibly having interest, with Kyrie Irving possibly having interest, it just makes it more valuable of a chip. We saw when LeBron went back to Cleveland, they took Andrew Wiggins number one overall and were able to turn that into Kevin Love because they wanted to turn that into a more veteran-led, championship-ready team. So Zion might be a piece that they want to keep if the Knicks are fortunate enough to win, but it's also something where if their offseason goes the way they want it to, they can use that as a bigger chip than any of these other teams, most likely.
Well, on DK Sportsbook, there isn't even a bet for who will go number one because everybody knows the answer. It's Zion. But there is a prop for who will go number two. Some interesting names, John Morant at minus 125, and Duke teammates RJ Barrett plus 110 and Cam Reddish plus 4,000. Is Morant a lock at two, do you think, Jules?
Well, nobody's a lock at two because we don't know who has the picks yet, and we need to see what the fits are here. I think the Phoenix Suns are the team that is really interested in Ja Morant. They've been talking about getting a point guard for years now, and it just hasn't worked out for them. They obviously like Devin Booker at the two. They want to get a point guard to put next to him. But if you look at the other teams at the top here, like Chicago has a lot going on in their backcourt. Washington, obviously, John Wall isn't a guy that they want to commit to, but I do think Ja Morant's the second best player in this draft. So therefore, I think he's a good bet, and that's why he's favored at minus 125. But at the same time, a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers, they just used a top 10 pick on Colin Sexton last year. They might want more of a wing scorer like RJ Barrett to fill that role. So for me, I got to wait to see where these ping pong balls go, and then when we see the teams slotted in, we can kind of start to look at the players that are going to fit in those picks.
Adam, do you agree that it's going to depend on which team has that number two pick?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think also some teams are more forward thinking than others. There's going to be some general managers that might say, hey, I'm not taking a guy from Murray State with the number 2 overall pick. You know, it's too risky. I can't do that. And then other guys will say, oh, this guy is from Duke and he got coached by Mike Krzyzewski and all this other nonsense that would make them say RJ Barrett is a better player. So, yeah, I think it depends on the team and really what kind of GM they have. And as Julian said, what kind of fits that they have. I do think RJ Barrett will be a far better pro than he was a college player. And I thought he was a heck of a college player too. But yeah, I think they're both going to be really good pros.
All right, so obviously we're in a wait-and-see pattern here, but there actually is a prop for Zion Williamson to be the number 2 pick in the draft, plus 1,100. How real of a possibility is this, in your opinion, Adam?
Yeah, I don't think it's a real possibility, but I don't think it's that far of a stretch to say that John Morant or RJ Barrett could have a better NBA career than Zion Williamson. I don't think that's like totally outlandish thing to say given their projectable skill sets to the NBA. But yeah, I don't think that any GM is going to pass on Zion just because of his athletic ability and what he's shown at Duke, just being a really outrageous athlete.
Jules, is there a team out there crazy enough to pass on Zion at number one?
I don't think so, and we saw some reports, I think, surface earlier that maybe the Phoenix Suns would because they want a point guard so much if they won the lottery, but is taking Ja Morant over Zion Williamson more valuable than trading that pick to a team that wants Zion to get him, even if the Suns want to pass on Zion? I don't think so. That's going to be more value of a trade chip than passing on Zion to get your guy, so this is something I don't really want to touch.
All right, we'll look at some of the top NBA playoff bets with you guys coming up. But for now, here's part one of an earlier conversation Emerson had with two crucial members of the DK Sportsbook family.
Here on Free to Bet Day, we are celebrating 1 year of the PASPA ruling, which opened the door for sports betting to be legalized in the United States of America. And both of you have played an integral role in DK Sportsbook's growth. We got Johnny Avello, Director of Race and Sports Operations, and Jamie Shea, Head of Sportsbook Digital. So, Johnny, I want to start with you. What's this experience been like?
It's really been great for me to be part of this whole national expansion. And if you go back 5-10 years ago, I probably would have told you that it wouldn't have happened. And I'm really happy that it did. We now have a couple of states under our belt with the expansion of more states ready to come on. And this thing is going to explode.
Jamie, how would you describe this 1 year ride?
You know, it's been really exciting. When we heard that the Supreme Court was going to take it up, I think we all just thought, this might really happen. And it really energized sports betting. I think that the idea that you could have sports betting in someplace beyond Nevada was just exciting for everybody who's been in this business for so long. Johnny and I have been doing this forever. I started in 1994 at the Sands. So, this has been going for quite some time. And to be able to share that with the rest of the country and for all of the players to get to have the excitement of every game, they can have a bet on it. Every game is more exciting when you can do that.
Well, Jamie, what have been some of the challenges you have faced entering this marketplace with a sports betting platform, starting from scratch? I mean, looking at your past experience, I know you're no stranger to taking on a beast like this. You just mentioned your start in the early 90s, and more importantly, you've found success.
So, I think working for DraftKings is the major factor that we were able to be so successful. We're such a great team. We have great developers, being able to develop our front end system, really knowing what the customer would want, let us be number one in the market. We were the first to market. So there weren't really any stumbles. It was more just excitement. And it's been a learning process because we always want to make sure that we're getting better. But I don't think that there were many stumbles along the way.
Hey, Johnny, what's challenged you the most? Because you've been part of the gaming industry in Vegas since 1979 here.
Well, this has not only been a new experience for us, the operator, but also for the regulators and the customers. For the regulators, it's about the content. What can we offer? What can't we offer? For the guests, it's a learning experience of how to bet, the rules, the disclaimers on things like what happens when a baseball game only goes 4 innings. So I think that's what it's been a collaboration and learning experience for everyone.
It has been an exciting year in sports. What have been some of the more memorable moments in the past year? We're talking like biggest bets, last minute wins, most money spent on an event. Jamie?
Well, I could tell you we had a user who won $325,000 on the World Series. We've had some really longest odds wins. We had our longest single leg win was just this past week. A user placed a 25-cent wager on the Wells Fargo Championship at 500 to 1. So that was huge. And then we've had a lot of these people betting the 25-cent parlays and really cashing out. I think everybody heard the story of the guy who did the 14-cent parlay and won $1,300, and now he's getting married. So we've had a lot of these great wins as people are learning more and more how to bet and what opportunities there are. They're playing more. We also had somebody who won $76,000 off of a 10-teamer.
What stands out to you, Johnny?
Well, it's nice to see that we're bringing people together. Betting is bringing people together for their eternity in marriage. Glad to hear that.
All right. DraftKings
Yeah.
Sportsbook matchmaker.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know, it's the Super Bowl and the March college basketball tournament. They are just great events. And, you know, they were two big money events as far as handle is concerned. So we were able to bring those to new markets. As far as last minute wins or buzzer beaters, I got to tell you, that happens on a daily occurrence. And, you know, it happens on every single event. So, you know, to me, the business is just exciting every single day that we're in it.
Welcome back to this special free Tibet Day edition of The Sweat. You think I'm saying Tibet every time? I see you laughing.
Now it's like all I hear when you say it.
Okay,
but that's not what we mean.
To bet, and we are talking MLB storylines with Steve Buchanan and Julian Edlow.
They're the two best friends that anybody could have. All right, boys. First storyline we're peeping. Tonight's early game. So we got a 6:30 start here with the Cubs and Reds. Do you like a play in this game? If so, which one, Jules?
We're going to give it to Bukes here because it's put up your Bukes. He's got to give us
This
his
is
pick.
not put up your Bukes.
It's not put up your Bukes.
All right, well, it's
anymore.
Steve's
it up
pick.
already.
It's Steve's pick here.
All right, Steve.
He's going to give us the play.
Don't worry, everybody. I'll just carry this segment per the usual. You know, old habits die hard. You know, obviously this idiot over here. Yeah, so we're going to go with the Cubs scoring first and winning the game. Tanner Roark, who's pitching for the Reds tonight, has the most trouble the first time through the order. It has not gone well for him all season long. 364 WOBA, 4.84 xFIP, first time through the order here. And lefties have been hitting him hard as well. He's going to have to start off against Jason Hayward. Kyle Schwarber has been moved up into the lineup. He's batting fifth tonight as well. There's just so much power in this Cubs lineup. And with Roark getting off to a slow start once the game starts, I like them to score first and take the W for tonight.
All right, so the odds there plus 135. Jules, do you like that?
Yeah, the reason I'm not going to give you that play is because this play stinks. You got to get much stronger odds than plus 135 on this. You look at Tanner Roark. He faced the Cubs one time last year. He beat them. He pitched 7 2/3 innings, only allowed 2 runs. He's been really solid this season. He's off to a 3.27 ERA. The Reds have won all 3 of the last games that he's started. He has a 3-1 record on the season. The Reds have been good when Tanner Roark's been on the mound. This is a pretty evenly matched game. Both teams are projected for around either you see 4.5 or 5 runs. This just isn't a spot. I think you need to get at least plus 150 or better betting on the Cubs to score first and win this game. Both things to happen.
Great. Steve, go ahead. Did you have a comment?
No, I mean, he wasn't even prepared for this anyway, so I mean, how can you take what he's going to say
It's not my
seriously?
pick. What do you want me to give your
Okay,
pick? It's going to lose tonight?
settle down. Settle down, guys. All right. World Series futures are available. Steve, who do you like as a potential long shot here?
The Twins, baby, plus 3,300. They are currently first in the American League Central, have a 3.5 game lead over the Indians. Look, this lineup is just stacked 1 through 9. Like, they legitimately have a shot to have every single guy in that lineup with double-digit home runs. I think they're going to start running away with that division as well. The Indians continue to deal with injuries. They're having so many injuries with their starting rotation. All of their guys aren't hitting right now. I mean, that lineup is certainly not what it looked like last year. They are missing so many power bats, and that's really starting to show as the season wears on. Francisco Lindor, yes, he was injured. He hasn't really gotten a hit. Jose Ramirez is not hitting at all as well. I think this is just a perfect opportunity for the Twins to start getting away and taking that division. And then once you get in the playoffs, really anything can happen here. So getting them at plus 3,300, I think is really, really good odds here. So I like that one a lot.
Jules, what do you think about the Twins?
I do like the Twins. They're plus 2,200. I'm seeing here on DK Sportsbook, but that doesn't mean
everybody's already taken it. They're nailing that already. Thank you. You're welcome.
That's not possible. You just made a mistake. But plus 2,200
mistake
is
over
very good odds. I mean, you look at where they are. They should win this division over the Indians. They've been a really good team. That means when we get to the trade deadline, they're most likely going to be buyers and try and add to what they have. So I can get on board with the Twins at plus 2,200 for sure. I'll give you a couple plays on both sides of that I think are fair. The Red Sox have been red hot, and they're at plus 1,000, and this is a team that at the start of everything was right around plus 500. So this might be a team, if they stay hot, heat up, start to get to where they were last year, this might be the time where we see the best odds left on the Red Sox at plus 1,000 if they continue the streak they're on. You want to look at a team going the other direction. The Seattle Mariners have been absolutely terrible, and I don't have a ton of faith in them, but at plus 5,000, I don't mind them because we saw what they're capable of at the start of the season. If they can bounce back to that form, you're still getting really good numbers on them when last month when they were absolutely on fire, the odds were completely skewed on them.
And then you won't cash.
Steve, your thoughts on the Mariners, though, real quick?
Yeah, no. They have no bullpen. Good luck.
All right, another fun future here, boys. The home run derby, but there are currently 64 options because we don't know who the heck is going to be in it. How do you navigate that right now, Steven?
Okay, so obviously it's a huge field to navigate at this point. So you got to kind of look at the obvious choices here. Like, who are guys that are going to be in this? And obviously right now the odds are set for guys who most likely will be in this. What you like about this is that the All-Star Game is going to be taking place at Progressive Field, which favors left-handed bats. So it's no surprise that the top three in terms of odds are lefties. It's Cody Bellinger, Christian Yelich, and Joey Gallo. Those are obviously great spots to start there. Bryce Harper at plus 900 is really enticing too, because you have to imagine he'll be in that as well. But then you look at some of the other guys, like a guy like Eddie Rosario on the Twins. He's second in the league in home runs right now in the American League, tied for second there with Alex Bregman. He's at 3,300. I mean, those are really, really good odds, too. But yeah, I think you got to go with the lefties here, the lefty power bats. Obviously, those top three guys most likely going to be in this home run. But yeah, it's one of those things that you're taking a real shot here because we, quite frankly, don't even know who's going to be in it. But for the odds you're getting right now, you're getting some good odds there.
Jules, it's early. I get it. But how do you navigate it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to do, and I think, first of all, you want to make sure that you don't necessarily bet on somebody that you're going to get really similar odds on when this thing actually happens. So like Steve's talking about, those top three guys, and I do agree with him on the lefties. There's a reason Bellinger, Yelich, Gallo, those guys are all at the top. They're good home run hitters, and they're lefties. The thing is, if you bet on them now, and they're all between plus 450 and plus 550, how different are those odds going to be when we get this 8-man field released and right now you've got a 64-man field. So I would much rather see for sure that Cody Bellinger is in this competition and get him at plus 400 than take him now at plus 450 just on the off chance that something happens, he gets hurt between now and then even, and he's not participating in this competition. Otherwise, I agree with the narrative there. I'm on the Twins with Steve, as I said before. So I think Eddie Rosario, a guy at plus 3,300, is a guy that makes sense. But looking around, I just think I want to feel really comfortable that the guys that I'm betting on are going to be in this field. That's the most important thing.
All right, good stuff, you two. Thanks for looking into the crystal ball for us. Now, Emerson and I, we have to go powder our noses. So we'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey, it's Brendan Glasheen on your screen with the DraftKings Fantasy Flash. Over the weekend, Ken Rosenthal of Fox Sports reported Madison Bumgarner's 8-team no-trade list. Red Sox, Yankees, and Astros in the AL, Braves, Cubs, Brewers, Phillies, and Cardinals in the NL. Rosenthal explains Bumgarner chose these teams strategically. This list contains teams that might want to acquire him, not teams he wants to avoid. So Bumgarner has leveraged the Giants. He's telling them, I have to approve which team you trade me to, San Fran. That's what this is. He holds approval on those 8 teams. So say the Yankees offered a better package than the Red Sox, for example. 2 teams on the no-trade list. Bumgarner says, nah, I want to be in Boston. Giants would have to regroup and go through the process again. It could get to a point where Bumgarner just doesn't get traded, but the Giants ought to get something for him. And hey, let's say the first place Rays or Twins in their divisions are willing to shell out prospects for him. Bumgarner won't have a choice at that point. These are all potential scenarios the Giants will face. The lefty turns 30 in August. He's a 3-time champion, a World Series MVP. Any team would be thrilled to have him.
Hi, it's us again. Happy Free to Bet Day. Yay! What's that? You have no idea what that means, even though we've been talking about it all show long. No problem. Please pay attention to my assistant, Jesse.
I am not your assistant. So on this day, May 14th of last year, the Supreme Court legalized sports betting. So we're celebrating with $514,000 in free bets and giveaways.
May 14th. 514. I see what you did there.
I did.
And for users of the DK Sportsbook app in New Jersey who are of the legal sports betting age,
which is
talking 21 and up here, you can claim one free bet of $5.14 right now.
So over $150,000 in sweepstakes. Hit up DraftKings.com or the DK app to enter. 1,000 users will win a $51.40 free bet. 100 will take home 514 DK dollars, and 10 of you will win $5,140 DK dollars. Wow, I got them all right.
You did this time.
Yes.
I think we both got them all right. But wait, I'm going to screw this one up. We're boosting odds all day, a new one each hour. Okay, and for this hour's boost, it is Alabama plus 500 to win the national championship and go undefeated. Previous odds were plus 425. That's pretty good.
All right, now for the perfect segue. Time to talk hockey with DK Live's Jeff Ulrich and Ben Zweiman, looking at some of the top NHL playoff bets. So, Game 3 between the Bruins and Hurricanes is tonight. First contest of the series in Carolina, so you can get the Canes at plus 230 with a puck line of minus 1.5. So, do you like them rebounding and making this a series tonight here, Ben?
Yeah, I actually do, and I think those odds are fantastic. So far in the postseason, the Hurricanes are 5-0 at home. They've outscored opponents 22-7 in those games. In the first round, they played the Capitals. They went down 2-0. I think this series against the Bruins has been a lot closer than people think. Game 1 was pretty close. The Canes were up 2-1 before that third period, before the refs kind of, I won't get into it, but yeah. I like the Hurricanes a lot at home. This is a must-win game. If they go down 3-0, the odds are very against them to make it to the Stanley Cup final. I'm looking at the Hurricanes tonight to respond.
Jeffrey.
I would take the complete opposite. I don't like this at all for the Hurricanes. I think people are just expecting a bounce back just because they think, oh, the Bruins can't win 3 games in a row. And the Hurricanes have been good at home in the playoffs, but look at the bigger picture. They're heading in here with an injured goalie. Now, we don't actually know if Peter Mazurek is going to start tonight, but he's been absolutely terrible the first 2 games. And what's the other option? That they start a journeyman, Curtis McElhinney, and just throw him in there game 3 against the Bruins? I don't like that situation either. I think Boston is coming with a ton of momentum. I think Carolina, whether they want to admit it or not, is back on their heels. And personally, with the Bruins underdogs here, I like that side a lot better.
Jeffrey, the over-under set at 5.5. Which way you leaning?
Yeah, this one's tough. I do think that Carolina, obviously giving up 11 goals in the first 2 games, I think they will play a bit more disciplined tonight and being at home. So if I was leaning aside, I definitely go the under. You also have Tuukka Rask, basically a brick wall at this point. So that's good there. I mean, if Carolina wins, it's probably going to be grinding out 3-1, 2-1 something. And if the Bruins win, I mean, even if they score 4 goals, their goalie might only allow 1. So I like the under.
Okay, where are you going here, Ben? Do we even know who the starter is going to be for the Hurricanes yet tonight?
We don't.
Okay.
Actually, that's a big deal. I mean,
I
think Peter Mrazek will get the start. I think he'll be on a short leash, which will motivate him a bit more. I'm also with Jeff. I'm going to lean the under in this game. I think the Hurricanes are going to have to play tight. The Bruins are also going to have to play tight going on the road. They know what's coming. They know the Hurricanes are going to give it all. In this game 3, must win. I think the under is a good play here. But back to what Jeff said before, I think Curtis McElhinney, if he does get into this game, that might even be better. If Mrazek is hurt, then he probably shouldn't be starting anyway. McElhinney played very well against the Islanders in place of Mrazek. 2.5 games, he basically shut him down, got them that sweep in the second round. So yeah, I mean, I like the under also tonight.
No argument there for me either. I mean, I think McElhinney is a better choice for the Carolina Hurricanes. So.
Okay, just had to get that in there, Jeff. All right, you can get odds on players to score in the game. So David Pastrnak at plus 160, Bergeron at plus 175, Aho at plus 188. So is there someone else on the board who stands out to you other than these guys, Ben?
I actually am looking at 2 defensemen on the Hurricanes, Dougie Hamilton and Justin Falk. Dougie Hamilton plus 135 to score a point in regulation. Justin Falk is plus 115 to get a point in regulation. I think the Hurricanes really need to rely on their defense, and they really need to step up. Dougie Hamilton was awful in the first 2 games in Boston. Obviously, he played for the Bruins before, so I think he was a little rattled getting back into TD Garden. So I sort of expect him to bounce back in this game. Really, if they can get it going on the power play, it should be pretty easy for Dougie Hamilton or Justin Falk to pick up a point in regulation. So yeah, I'm looking that way.
Jeff, other than these 3 guys, who are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the idea of going with a Carolina defenseman. I think if you're going to go with the Carolina Hurricane, you might as well go with the best odds you get. I just can't really get behind anyone on that team because of the way Tuukka Rask is playing for a goal-scoring prop or anything like that. I'm going to look at the Bruins. I'm just going to go down a bit. I mean, David Krejci is playing 17, 18 minutes, playing a lot of minutes. He's involved offensively. This is a 20-goal scorer. I mean, you're getting pretty good odds. You're getting better odds anyways than the first line for the Bruins. So I think taking the value with a guy like Krejci or maybe even Charlie Coyle, I think that's a little bit of a better play than just going with the shorter odds of a guy like Pastrnak or Bergeron. So I'm looking at Krejci, I think, would be the player I would probably target here on the Bruins. I do think it might be a little bit low-scoring game, though.
All right, gentlemen, looking ahead, here are the current Cup winner futures as things stand right now. Boston at -105, Blues +290, Sharks +320, Canes at +1250. Which team do you like the most at these odds? Benny with the good hair.
Yeah, I mean, if you think the Canes can get the win tonight and get back in this series, this is the time to bet on them to win the Cup, right? Other than that, I really like the Sharks. I don't know why the Sharks dropped behind the Blues to get to the Cup. It's still 1-1. I think no one really expected this series to end quickly. I think it'll go Game 6, Game 7. The Sharks have been there before. They made it to the Stanley Cup Final back in 2015-16, lost to the Penguins. This is a veteran group. They've been there before. Joe Thornton, they're trying to get him a cup. Joe Pavelski, they've got more veteran guys. They got more depth than any team in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. So, if anything, I'd probably look at the Sharks as good odds.
Which team you going with, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm not even going to touch the Hurricanes, but I agree 100% with Ben. The Sharks is a play. Even if the Sharks go down to shorter odds than the Blues, I'd still take the Sharks. Not only are they the deepest team, but they've actually been getting decent goaltending. I think if they keep getting decent goaltending from Martin Jones, they will win the Cup. So I think if you're looking at San Jose and you are actually getting odds, like higher odds than St. Louis right now. By the way, the Blues have not played well at home either. I know they have 2 home games coming up, but I think San Jose can definitely at least get one of those. I think San Jose is the deepest team. They're my pick to win right now. And at those odds, I don't hate them as a bet at all.
All right, Ben, Great Blazer, you're free to go. Jeff, please stick around. So we're talking NFL future bets right after Adam Kaufman's conversation with Mike Francesa.
With Mike Francesa, host of Mike's on WFAN in New York. Adam Kaufman with you. And Mike, let's start in the NBA. Final Four is set. Couple of fun Game 7 finishes. You got Game 1 in the West Finals. That tips tonight. Blazers in Golden State. And Kevin Durant, he's still out with that injury. We don't exactly know the timeline, of course. It's a big opportunity for Portland to take advantage early on in this series. What do you like in the set?
I give Portland credit for winning Game 7 on the road in Denver. I thought Jokic ran out of gas. I thought Denver matched up better against Golden State. I don't know what's going to go on with Durant, but I think they can beat Portland without Durant, even if they have to. It would be a longer series. I don't like Portland in this matchup. I root against anybody. I root for anybody against Golden State, and I thought Houston was awful. Absolutely awful down the stretch of that, both games 5 and 6. But I don't think Portland has enough. I don't think you're going to beat them in the backcourt. I don't think that's where you're going to beat Golden State. I think Golden State wins.
How about tomorrow? Game 1 in the East. Raptors at the Bucks. Everyone's excited for the Kawhi-Giannis showdown, understandably so. A couple of top talents. But top to bottom, which team has the edge in this best of 7?
Milwaukee's got more talent. I don't think there's any question. You saw what happened with Toronto in Game 7. I mean, for him to take 39 shots, I mean, he made the last shot, and it's going to be a shot remembered forever. It was a freaky shot, too, because it went outside the cylinder and bounced back in. But I thought the key to the game and the key to the next series is Serge Ibaka. If he plays like that, and he was great in the Sunday night game. He was unbelievable. At 17 and 8, he was plus 22 in a 2-point game in 29 minutes of play. So he made every big three. He made every big offensive rebound. If he plays great, Toronto would have a chance, but I think the Bucks win.
What's it say to you that stars like Joel Embiid for the Sixers, the Nuggets, Nick Jokic, they were emotional, they were accountable, as you would hope your star athlete would be after their Game 7 losses. But Kyrie Irving, we spent some time on him when the Celtics were knocked out. He said he wasn't disappointed when the C's fell in 5. Is he just a different duck, which we already know him to be, or is he just that eager to get out of Boston?
No, I think it's a different thing, Adam. I really believe that there's 2 motivations for top players. One is to get the ring, and the other is to get rich. And once they got the ring, the motivation's to get rich. They don't care how many rings. They want the ring. He's already got a ring. Mm-hmm. So that makes a big difference. And I think that it really is a difference in what you see in the guys who are upset, like Jokic or Embiid, and the guys who aren't. I also think, I don't like the way Irving acted in Boston. I wouldn't touch him in New York. I think he's a second banana. I think he has to be a second banana. I don't think he's a leader. I think he showed that. He fought with the guys in Boston, the young kids. But I think you saw real raw emotion from the big guys who found out how hard it is to win a championship. I think they realized the kind of, I think Embiid realized the kind of shape he has to get in. And I think even Jokic realized that he's a wonderful player. he ran out of gas. He's got to get a little better condition and get himself prepared for the grind of the postseason. I think both those players will learn from this year.
Well, the Lakers finally landed a head coach, option number, I don't know what at this point. They went with Frank Vogel. Former head man Jason Kidd as his backup, basically. It's just another sign, Mike, that LA really has no clue what it's doing. How big a disaster is this going to be?
I don't understand what's going on. I really don't. I don't understand what went on with Lou. I don't understand what's going on now. I agree with you. Completely dysfunctional, and more to come. Absolutely more to come.
Some pretty surprising news on the head coaching front, though. Monday, John Beilein decided to leave Michigan after a dozen years for his first NBA opportunity in Cleveland. Again, that's Cleveland. It's a 5-year deal for the 66-year-old first-time pro coach. How many years is that going to last before he finds his way back to March Madness?
I'm surprised at this. First of all, I know John well, and John's a brilliant offensive coach. And I think with him, it's about the idea of getting a chance. And he probably figured the years were running out. He did a great job at Michigan. He's taken them as far, except for one step, a bunch of times. He took teams to the Final Four, different teams. I mean, the guy is a wonderful coach. He's a great offensive coach, and I think he's challenged by the mental aspect of coaching on the top level. And I think maybe he thought this is the only opportunity he'd get, so he took it, but it was very surprising. Considering the team, I'm very surprised because he's an excellent, excellent offensive coach.
NBA Draft Lottery coming up tonight. The Knicks, the Cavs, the Suns, they all have an equal shot at landing the top choice. Which team needs the number one pick most, whether it's one of those three or somebody else?
I think the Knicks need every bit of help they can get. I think it's been down for so long that they just need some good karma more than anything else. I mean, I think the Suns are very close anyway with the players they have. I mean, they have 3 really good players. Adding a 4th one would be very, very good. I mean, they'll be good in a hurry, I think, with the right coach. I think the Knicks really need a break. They really do.
Last thing for you, did you see Aaron Rodgers on Game of Thrones?
I did not. I'm not a Game of Thrones watcher since early on, so I did not see it. Was he any good?
I didn't see it either. I guess he was a soldier or something. I don't even think he lived to tell about it. I think he was dead.
They should have killed him more fast. Now he knows what everybody else is like. Now he knows how it is to be a bit player.
Mike Francesa, thank you.
Those two just have the best time.
They really do. So do we. And our names are Jesse and Emerson. We are on your screen on this beautiful free-to-bet day. And speaking of...
Free-to-bet. Okay.
Speaking of beautiful, slow it down. Prepare for your device to overheat a little bit here because we've got Adam Levitan, who still has not done laundry. Steve Buchanan and Reed Fowler all joining us. NFL Future Bets is the topic of conversation.
I'm so sorry about him. All right. Player prop for Kyler Murray has an over-under of 3,300 passing yards for the NFL's first overall pick. So which way are you leaning on this one, Adam? Don't worry about the laundry.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kyler Murray over that. And I think what you're going to see is a huge volume of plays coming out of Cliff Kingsbury and the way they're going to play this offense. So whereas last year's Cardinals team was so slow, and kind of so old school NFL, this will be new age NFL, 5 wide, 95% of the snaps out of the shotgun, play fast early in the play clock, et cetera, et cetera. And Kyler Murray with that kind of play volume will just fall over 3,300 yards, I think, pretty easily.
Reed, 3,300 yards. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Adam here, and I like that car. It's still there from Christmas. I appreciate that. Adam shot.
For a child.
There you go, buddy. I love
That's
it.
for a child.
Yeah. And he's laying out his,
He's like
his
just
clothes.
breaking out all his Christmas gifts.
Going back to the question.
That's not for him.
Going back to the question, I agree with Adam here. If you look at what the air raid offense in Kingsbury is going to bring, just look what he's done in the past, right? With Case Keenum when he was in Houston in 2011, Johnny Manziel at A&M, and just what he's been able to do with these quarterbacks. Patty Mahomes, he really caters that offense to their strengths. And obviously the transition from college isn't going to be the same, but even just look at the teams that the Cardinals are going to play outside of their division, because the division might get a little tough with those teams, but they're playing the Bucs, the Lions, the Giants, and some other bottom 5 or 6 teams in passing DVOA last year. That really, look, these guys are going to be coming from behind too. The Cardinals aren't going to be leading, and so when you look at what they're just the scheme and what Kingsbury can bring to a guy like Kyler Murray, I'm going to say over as well.
Steve, everyone thinks he's going over. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not going to take a shot at Adam just yet. I'll wait for the opportune time. Everyone's just loading on him right now. I think this is going to go over too as well. I mean, look, the Cardinals could have done anything with that first pick. They could have traded out of it if they wanted to, but this is a guy they wanted in their offense. He fits their schemes. I think this is just a great landing spot for him, so I think the potential to go over in this is going to be really high. I mean, obviously it's a huge number, right? We haven't seen him play at an NFL level. Obviously that offensive line needs to do a lot better job than they did last year, especially with how small Murray is, but I think if everything goes well, just like we expect, this offense starts clicking like we expect, I think Murray goes over here.
All right, for most valuable player, Mahomes is the favorite at plus 500. Tom Brady plus 800, but who else is on the board do you like here, Reed?
I like Andrew Luck at plus 1,000. If you just look at what they were able to do, like strong offensive line, to what Steve was saying, right, with the Cardinals who don't have one, the Colts probably have one of the better offensive lines. And Andrew Luck now with a full preseason throwing actual NFL footballs as opposed to college balls or whatever he was in the past, he's going to have a great offense. Look, Devin Funchess isn't the best receiver. Spencer Ware isn't the best running back, but he still gets these ancillary parts to an offense that was doing fairly well. Marlon Mack is still going to be there, and you have T.Y. Hilton who can stretch the field. So this entire offense and just that division, right? I think that AFC division is going to be a lot easier to get through as opposed to the NFC. And like you still have Patty Mahomes, you still have Brady, but I think Andrew Luck at plus 1,000, and even a longer shot like Jimmy G is someone that I do like as well.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got to play the Jaguars twice this season, buddy.
Scary.
Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, so out of all the awards that have been given out, quarterbacks have won this 70% of the time since this award was introduced. So obviously a quarterback is a safe play here. And then, Reed wants to talk about people who, don't have great weapons. Well, how about Baker Mayfield with some good weapons at plus 1,400? These guys are just absolutely loaded from top to bottom. Mayfield is going to have his choice to throw to every single game. Hot take, baby! First one of the
What's wrong, Reed? You don't like his hot
The
take?
Cleveland Browns are going to win the Super Bowl. Not Johnny Manziel, that's the Freudian slip. Baker Mayfield's going to win the MVP. That's not a hot take because people have been saying that this entire offseason.
Yeah, and people like to make money, so plus 1,400, let's go, baby. What's wrong with that? The other guy that's actually not too bad either is if you want to take a non-quarterback, the first one, is Saquon Barkley at plus 3,300. Okay. So that's some really good odds too because, Eli Manning's still going to play, and he's still going to play because all he has to do is, hey, here, dude, go do your thing. So that's not too bad of odds either.
Adam, who you like besides like Mahomes and Brady?
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I had Baker and Luck written down as two of my picks. That's interesting. Maybe maybe we're on these guys too much, and the odds are going to get inflated. Everybody's going to watch this show.
Just hang them all out there.
I'm going to go off the board more since those guys are taken. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. We've seen him with really bad weapons before and really bad offensive line play before lead his team to 10, 11, 12 wins. Nobody expects Seattle to be great this year, but if they are great, it will be almost solely due to Russell Wilson yet again. And it seems like the media is just absolutely in love with them. And I hate betting on these things where like the old AP NFL writers vote for them because I have no idea what these guys are thinking, but I do know that they like Russell Wilson.
All right, after a very active offseason, the Oakland Raiders win total prop is set at 6. Will the silver and black go over or under that number? Steve, please go easy on Reed's team here.
I mean, you want to go with the under here because they always just screw it up. Like, it doesn't matter what happens here. They can have the best scenario in the world, and somehow they just screw it up. Like, have they improved? Absolutely. Look, and Derek Carr, to his credit, we can dump him in all we want, but near the end of the year, he really started to show kind of that old form that we saw when he first came into the league. So I'm just going to go with the under here because I feel like it's a lot safer overall. But, I mean, they definitely have the talent to go over. But if I'm, laying it out there, I think it's the under.
Adam, are you as bullish on the Raiders as Steve is?
No, I think the Raiders go over in this spot.
Whoa.
I really like what they did. I mean, Derek Carr was absolutely atrocious last year, but I think that with a better supporting cast, he can play way, way, way better. Now that they have Antonio Brown and Tyrell Williams added Trent Brown at their tackle spot in free agency. I think that Derek Carr is actually going to have a competent year, and I think we can get to 6 or 7 wins out of this team. I don't think they're maybe not as big of donkeys as we originally thought.
Reed?
Yeah, I hate to be the tiebreaker here and go against the Raiders. And look, maybe this comes down to if they get on Hard Knocks this season too, and I really hope they don't because that's just going to go. I just hammer the under if that's the case.
Is that worse than the Madden curse?
I think it is. But I'm going to agree with Steve here. This is sort of The reason being, too, if you just look at their strength of schedule, right, one of the hardest in the NFL, or the hardest, according to the teams that were above 500 last year that they're playing this year. And if you look at weeks, I think 3 through 8, they're on the road 5 of those weeks, right? They have a bye in between, but every other game, which they call a home game in London, are away. And so that early stretch of games, and they play the Bears, the Colts, and a lot of these teams that are really good and have a good chance at winning the championship next year, they have a tough schedule. And so even though they're obviously adding to their defense with the rookies that they're going to bring in, they're adding to their offense with the free agencies, pickups and signings, I just think 6 is a little high. I think it's a good number that hopefully, I think optimism says that 6 will be it, but I'm going to say about 5, so under.
All right, Reed, let's, speaking of the NFL Championship odds, how about this? Right now, Patriots, the favorites, plus 700. No surprise. Followed by the Chiefs, plus 800. Rams, Saints, plus 900. Those are the Final Four teams from last year. But if you have watched the NFL at all, there are always a few surprise teams in there. So who stands out as a contender outside that top 4? Adam.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2 teams, the Chargers and the Vikings. I mean, to me, the Chargers on paper have one of the best defenses in the league. We didn't get to see it as much last year because I think Joey Bosa, who is such a big part of their defense off the edge, was hurt for so much of last year. But I think this Chargers defense could be really, really nasty. And they do have pieces on offense. I mean, they lost Tyrell, but having Melvin Gordon and Keenan Allen with Phillip Rivers is always going to be pretty strong. And then the Vikings are so talented too. And I think they've done a lot to help their offensive line, which they knew was really their only weak point from a talent perspective. So I think those 2 are decent bets right now.
All right, Reed, hit me with
it. Green Bay is one I like, plus 2,000. They made a lot of changes as well on defense. We usually don't see these guys go out in free agencies and sign these guys. And look, the Smiths, as what they're calling him, aren't key signings or not high-profile signings, but they're making changes on defense. They bulked up that secondary. And we got Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, who's this Sean McVay disciple. He was on that team, I believe, when Matt Ryan won MVP. So Green Bay could be. And look, San Francisco, they're another one at 30 at plus 3,300. If Shanahan can get all of his guys healthy, again, tough division and tough NFC, obviously. I think there are some long shots that I like as opposed to the guys that we just talked about.
Yeah, Reed, and Green Bay with Mercedes Lewis at tight end right now. Steve, what do you think here?
Yeah, obviously the Browns again, 1,400. I mean, Reed can laugh all he wants. Like, I like making money.
Yeah, chill,
he doesn't. So, take Green Bay and, cover Devontae Adams and good luck scoring anything after that point. And the Colts, too. The Colts had the same odds, 1,400. I mean, you got a healthy Andrew Luck. Got a really good offensive line. The only thing about the Colts is they got a really tough schedule this year. They play a lot of good teams, especially in the middle of the year. So that's going to be a good test for them. But again, the Browns 1,400. I mean, so many weapons. Like, what don't you like here? You don't like making money? I mean, you want to be like Reed and take the Packers. I mean, cool. That's awesome. Might as well just give you the money once the segment's over. It's going to go to the same place. So. Browns. I love them. I just love the Browns. Just so much I love Adam and his background. Everything is just great.
Hey, we've seen Aaron Rodgers courtside of the Milwaukee Bucks game, so come on. Talk about Narrative Street.
Oh, yeah, that has a lot to do with it. Yeah. I went to a game once. You don't see me saying anything.
All right, Steve loves the Browns, in case you guys didn't get that. Now, thanks for the help, gentlemen. Bets for tonight's NBA playoff slate is coming up next.
But for now, here's part 2 of my DK Sportsbook conversation with Johnny Avello and Jamie Shea. In your opinion, how is DraftKings changing the sports betting landscape?
Mobile app may be the finest in the market. It's easy to use, easy to find content that you want to wager on. Our offerings are really attractive. Our incentives, like our sign-up bonuses and our boost of odds, are exceptional. And I know I'm boasting about the company, but we just have the finest team. And I think Jamie mentioned that, from the areas of operation, the business development team, the customer service. It's just a really, really great team to work with.
Jamie, what do you see from your angle?
So, I think we're constantly doing surveys and finding out what the customer wants and making sure that that's what we implement. So we're really developing on a daily basis and pivoting if we need to and listening to our customer to make sure that it is the best user experience.
Well, earlier this year, guys, Sportsbook had odds on the Oscars. Looking ahead, you see any opportunities for incorporating more non-sporting events into the DK Sportsbook, Jamie?
Absolutely. We're constantly sending recommendations to the DGE, which is the Gaming Control Board for New Jersey, saying, how about if we put this up, or could we put, like a Dancing with the Stars up there. So, I mean, I see a lot of this, and Johnny is definitely the pro at this. He's been doing this for years for an entertainment purposes only. The more that we can get Johnny making these odds, the better. It's just fun and it's exciting, and we will continue to ask for those.
Yeah, Johnny, what kind of opportunities, what do you see cooking here?
I just see a world of expansion here. Of course, you always need approval from the regulators, but I'd like to see elections. I love the presidential election. I think that could be just a huge offering. The Emmys and the Grammys and the, Dancing with the Stars, all of those things, I think could be successful propositions.
Looking ahead here, guys, what are some of the initiatives you are focused on for year 2 of the DraftKings Sportsbook? Johnny?
Keep making the product better. Offering the best possible service, best possible content, which are all new offerings. Horse racing product is something we're diving into now. Hopefully we'll be able to launch that fairly soon. With a lot of new states coming on board, just going to be an exciting year.
What about you, Jamie?
Just developing the product out more, making sure that, like Johnny said, that we have the right content, that we're reaching the customers that we want to reach. And also a big piece of education. As we get into more and more states, and that is going to happen, we need to continue to educate the customer, teaching them better how to place wagers, what they are. In running is a huge piece of the business, and it's not something that people had a lot of experience with. So now they're able to go with their phone and be sitting on their couch and just bet while the game's going on. And that's so exciting. It's instant gratification. I'd like to see a bigger push for that to get, for that market to move up a little bit.
Yeah, Jamie, you kind of touched on my last question here. It sounds like you do envision opening other physical sportsbook across the country in addition to online betting.
Yeah, absolutely. Wherever the states will allow, we would like to have both. I really push for mobile because I think that that's really an easy way for the states to get some revenue. I think it's really good for the in-running product. And then to have that retail space where you can go with your friends and watch a game and have that action, just having both is really what we envision in all the states that we can go in.
Yeah, Johnny, are we just playing the waiting game here, just waiting on legislative approvals?
Yeah, that pretty much is it. I mean, I'd like to go to Hawaii in the winter and Alaska in the summer. So, the more the merrier. Let's just hope it.
I'll be with you, Johnny.
Go ahead.
I said I'd be with you, Johnny. I like Hawaii.
Yes, and don't forget about us folks here in Boston. Appreciate it.
That's right.
Jamie and Johnny, really appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Well, this segment marks the first of 2 in a row with Julian Edlow in it. Proceed with caution, people watching at home. The good news is Adam Levitan is also here, and he's much easier to talk to. Please be quiet while I'm talking. Thank you. Now, Jesse, you talk.
All right, they make up our NBA panel. I'm nicer than him, and we want to run over some of the top NBA bets for tonight's playoff slate, which is just one game, the Blazers at Golden State.
Adam, the Warriors without Kevin Durant remaining 7-point favorites at home in Game 1 in the Western Conference Finals here. You looking at the Blazers, though?
No, I don't think so. I think this is a spot where the public is on the Blazers. If you went into a bar and asked people, can the Warriors cover 7.5? Without Kevin Durant in the spot, 80, 85 of them would say, no, Blazers are going to cover here. And I think when the public is on a dog like that, it's a pretty big red flag for me. I think the right side here is the Warriors, even without Kevin Durant.
Okay, where do you sit on this one, Jules?
Yeah, I'm actually with Levy here. This is something where just look at what happened in Game 6, that overreaction to Durant being out, and the Warriors came out and said, hey, we're still here. We still have a really good team, and won that game against the Rockets. Now the public is on the Blazers, and this is a spot where the Warriors are at home with a team that's won a championship before. And the trends with the referees in this game are not doing any favors to Portland. Mark Davis is the head referee. They're 0-3 against the spread in the last 3 games that Mark Davis has refereed, whereas Davis has been kind to the Warriors, 3-1 against the spread in the last 4 games. So ref trends have been really big in these playoffs, as sad as it is to say, and that trend points to the Warriors as well tonight.
All right, the over-under for Game 1 is set at 220.5. Which way are you leaning on this one, Jules?
Yeah, this one popped up to 221.5 for a little while today. I like going with unders or nothing in a game one of a playoff series. These teams played 4 times in the regular season. It went over this number twice, under it twice, although one of those games was 222, so it was pretty close. But when these teams get together, and this is where I think Durant being out does have a factor, might not be as many points with KD not out there, but a lot of these game ones have been going under in the NBA postseason because these teams just got through these grueling series figuring out another team. Now you have a whole new team to figure out and kind of see how it goes.
Adam, you want the over or under here?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I saw this open 218, and as Julian mentioned, it got up as high as 221. I do have a stat here from good friend John Ewing. He said in the 41 games without Kevin Durant since 2016, the Warriors under is 27-14, and I think that kind of speaks to how the Warriors choose to play without Durant. I think it'll be a little bit slower and a little bit less efficient on the offensive end. So I'm on the under also here.
All right, but let's look at the series as a whole. The Blazers are plus 410 to win the whole thing, to win the series, while the favored Warriors at minus 560. Can Portland pull this off, Levy?
Yeah, I think that price sounds about right. I mean, part of the price here is how badly is Kevin Durant hurt. We know he's not going to play tonight. He sounds very questionable at best for game 2. We'll see what happens in game 3 and 4. I think if you think that Kevin Durant will be fine and near his old self for games 3, 4, 5, 6, then there'd be a little bit of value on the Warriors side. I just hate to lay that kind of wood. It's a lot to lay.
You like these odds, Julian?
Yeah, I can't really touch anything here. I understand the appeal in the Blazers with Kevin Durant out, but like we just talked about, there's an overreaction to Durant being out and how good the Warriors are without him. So that being said, I also don't want to lay minus 560 on the Warriors. That's just too large of a number. I'd rather take their championship odds. So for me, this comes down to even if Kevin Durant isn't around until like game 5, I still really like Golden State in this series. So this is just a spot where I'm not going to touch anything, and I'll go game by game.
All right, looking east, the Bucks are minus 286 favorites to win the series, while the Raptors sit at plus 230. Which one of those options do you like, Julian?
Yeah, again, I like Milwaukee a lot in this series. I think that the 286 is a pretty big number, not necessarily untouchable if you're really confident in them. I do see some value on Toronto here, I guess, if you believe they can win this series. Plus 230 is a pretty solid number, and we saw a little while back Milwaukee was much less of a favorite. I think they were in the minus 185, 200 range to win the East, and now we're here in the Eastern Conference Finals, and that number's a little bit inflated. So I think that the value is with Toronto here, but I'm so confident in Milwaukee winning this series, it's either Milwaukee or nothing for me.
Adam, which option appeals more to you?
Yeah, from a line perspective, I think Toronto is for sure the more appealing side. You have 2 of the best defenders in the NBA in Kawhi Leonard and Marc Gasol, and I think that's going to be a big difference. It was certainly a big difference for Toronto in that series against the Sixers. So I think when you can have 2 of the best defenders like that, you always have a chance. And so I think at that number, getting better than 2-1, there's a little bit of value on the Raptors.
All right, Julian, we're going to grab your hidden jewels on this MLB slate right after we take you back to Jesse's sit-down conversation with the DraftKings founders.
Exactly 1 year ago on May 14th, the Supreme Court repealed a previous ban on sports betting, which opened the doors for people across the U.S. to bet legally. In honor of the occasion, I'm joined by DraftKings co-founders Paul Lieberman, Jason Robbins, and Matt Kalish. Guys, thank you for joining the program.
Thank you.
All right, so Jason, what's been going on at DraftKings today to honor this momentous occasion?
Today's a big day. For us, doing something to commemorate PASPA being repealed was a really important thing. So we are launching the first inaugural free-to-bet day. We're going to give away over $500,000 to customers, actually $514,000 in honor of the day to be exact. And, we're really excited about it. We have a number of different promos mixed around free bets, special props, and odds boosts. Lots of really cool, exciting stuff for people. And we're also going to have a few fun things on the marketing side that we'll be putting out there as well.
Awesome. Now, Paul, can you take the people behind the curtain of all that work that went into building the Sportsbook product from scratch before the Supreme Court ruling was even repealed?
Yeah, so as soon as we thought that there was an opportunity, we started building the product. A lot of work, a lot of design, a lot of user research. We talked to customers, we talked to bettors, we talked to people that were casual that have never bet before. And we spent a year looking at what other European companies have done, what other people have done in the US and Nevada. And ultimately, we built a product that we thought would be very compelling to everyone that plays on the DraftKings Sportsbook. It's been a lot of work, and the team has done a great job. And what I'm excited about is all the things that are in store in the future. We're launching a bunch of new products. We're going to make it a lot easier, a lot more fun, better live experience, and that'll be all coming for this NFL season.
We love new and exciting stuff. Now, Matt, what has the legalization of sports betting meant to DraftKings and its growth over the last year?
It's really accelerated our growth a lot. Our fantasy sports business has grown every single year since we launched, so that continues to do really, really well. However, with sports betting, we wanted to make sure that we were putting out a best-in-class product, getting our experience the way that an American customer would expect it to be. So that means for us, we want to have everything that a customer is looking for to bet on, do that at really, really great paybacks and odds, make sure our rewards, our promotions, everything are up to par, the best in the market. So we had to grow our team. We've set up a new office in San Francisco as well as in New Jersey and Las Vegas. So 3 new offices within the year. We've doubled our team to over 700 people, and we continue to grow. So it's a really great next vector of growth for us to really supplement what's going on in fantasy.
Now, a lot of iconic moments over the past year. So in a year filled with all these moments, how are we showing our appreciation for the customers who have been with you guys since the beginning and really been part of this journey?
Well, we're going to do a lot of really big giveaways today. As we mentioned, we're giving away over $500,000, and we're going to have a lot of really cool, exciting Easter eggs, drawings, things for people. But that's just the start. We have a really fun slate of things planned for this summer, and this football season, college and NFL coming up, is going to be the biggest one yet. We have so many big things planned for that. And I just want to touch on something too. When Paul was talking about all the work that went in, I think it's a real testament to the team here. They'd never built a product like that before, and they just sort of figured it out. They got their hands dirty. They studied the market. As Paul noted, a lot of really what we had to study was European and other international companies, because that's where most of these things are built out of now, and that's because that's where the market has been, basically. And we think we're able to really build a lot of the best-in-class stuff and also leverage a lot of the existing things that have already been proven to work. But one really important thing we always said was, this whole thing started with the 3 of us in Paul's spare bedroom in the United States, thinking about the U.S. consumer. Fantasy is a uniquely American product. While I think a lot of the things that are being done overseas and a lot of the offerings are really relevant to the customer here, it's not totally built with the American customer in mind. And that's something that we're really trying hard to differentiate on, and it'll take time to have it fully come to life the way that we want to. But I think the team did a great job of looking at all the best-in-class things out there while also adding in a uniquely American twist.
Really a new frontier. And now a number of states have legalized sports betting. So, Paul, what do you expect for other states as the sports betting industry continues to grow?
That one's for Jason. That's right up your alley.
There we go.
He knows all this.
So I think that, this is just the beginning. It's very exciting to see and to be at the forefront of it. I know everyone around the country is anxious to be able to play on Sportsbook and, to be able to bet at least in the legal market. I know many are probably already betting on black market websites and mobile sites. And, we're working hard. We have a strong government affairs team that's, working to try to educate lawmakers. We have a product and tech team that's built a platform that does allow us to rapidly deploy. So we'll try to get out there as soon as the regulators and laws allow it. And we're going to make sure that wherever possible, whatever we can control within the regulations, we're going to make it really easy for people. So as you're traveling state to state, you don't have to download new apps, you don't have to open new accounts. You just have your DraftKings thing. And I think that's really the vision, but it'll take a few years. And where everybody out there can help, if you want Sportsbook to come to your state, is write your legislator, write your governor, make it known that this is something that's important to you. That's how action gets driven.
Matt, anything to add to that there?
No, I think we're working really hard. I think everyone should know how hard we're working on making sure that we can put out a really great competitive product in the U.S., but do it legally, do it the right way, make sure customers are protected. And, we're competing with a lot of different groups that are, some of them are illegal offshore sports books. Some of them are, European or foreign entrants coming in with decades of experience, but in a different market. And we really want to just make sure what we put out there is a great, the best experience that we can possibly provide, but do it the right way. And we're putting a lot of time and energy on laying that foundation right now.
So, Jason, what other exciting offers can the customers expect to see as we celebrate the impact of sports betting on DraftKings?
One of my favorite ones is that anyone in New Jersey who comes and registers, you don't have to deposit, you just have to register and go through the KYC process to prove you're of age, but no need to deposit or anything. So if you're somebody who's never tried the product out before and you want a chance to do it for free and you don't want to have to take out your wallet, now's the time to do it.
Amazing, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on all of the success. We really can't wait to see what happens next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
That.
I know I'm
Again,
amazing.
A big get for you.
So amazing. Coming down the home stretch here on Free to Bet Day. We appreciate you sticking with us and hope you take advantage of all the good things the DK Sportsbook has to offer today.
Let's peep some of the contrarian bets for tonight's MLB slate with Steve Buchanan and Julian Edlow. Yeah, it's Hidden Jewels, so we're dusting off that animation.
We are back.
Let's go.
All right, settle down over there, buddy. Cold shower. Let's see what advice you have for the people at home, and Steve will chime in to share his feelings because we care about Steve as well. Your first jewel, please.
So the Astros are in one of the strongest spots that I've seen this season. I think they're minus 210 favorites right now against the Detroit Tigers. There's a lot of ways you can take them, but let's get creative. This is Hidden Jewels. We want to get them at plus money, so we're going to take them minus 2.5 runs at plus 108. For Detroit, some guy named Ryan Carpenter is pitching. He allowed 6 runs in 5 innings in his only appearance of the season. That wound up being a 13-0 loss to the Angels. Carpenter, in his career, he's given up 10 home runs in just over 27 innings. This guy gets shellacked, and he's a lefty, and the Astros are stacked with red-hot right-handed bats. They're averaging about 5.5 runs per game this season. They're projected for 6.5 runs in this game. This is a spot... and on the other side, we've got Wade Miley, who's been really good pitching for the Astros. So this is a spot where the Astros should win this game big. I think they can do it by 3+ runs. So let's get creative and get them at plus money.
Steven, you on board with this?
I mean, well, first of all, some guy, Ryan Carpenter, I mean, he does have a family. I mean, he is a person. You don't have to shell him out like that.
This has nothing to do with his family. This has to do with how poorly he's going to pitch tonight.
I'm here for the people, okay? That's what I'm here for. Anyways, so the plus, the 2.5 run line, yes, of course, obviously, like, that's not a creative play. I mean, the Astros could end up scoring like 11 runs in this start. Ryan Carpenter is not good at all. Ryan Carpenter has been dismembered when he's been on a major league mound. So yes, obviously that's a great play. You do get plus money on that, which is really enticing on that. But Julian really had a stretch for this one. The team that has a 6.5 implied run total.
I guarantee you, most people are going to be targeting that minus 1.5 run total, which I think is somewhere around minus 140. So this is a way to add another run to it if we think it's going to be a blowout and get plus money.
Oh, there you go.
Nothing will shock me more than what he told us during the break, where he skipped seeing his mom on Mother's Day for brunch with his brothers.
What a heartless guy.
That brunch, I was the best man in a wedding.
Okay,
and now we have dinner tonight.
Second jewel.
Carried you for 9 months.
Second jewel, you ready?
Second jewel. Jorge Soler is going to hit a home run for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Kansas City Royals. You've got me all hot and bothered here. Kansas City Royals are going to win this game. Again, this is a home run for Soler and a win for the Royals at plus 675. This is a spot where we've got Shelby Miller on the mound for the Texas Rangers. He's become like the new Homer Bailey, the guy that you're going against every time. He has like almost a 7.5 ERA. He's allowed at least 5 runs in all of his starts except for his first start of the season. This is a smash spot for the Chiefs overall, and I know Buchanan's not going to argue me when we go to BVP Town. These guys have faced each other 12 times. Soler has 3 home runs. This is a great spot for him to go yard and win this game, and we get steep odds on it.
All right, take it away, Bukes.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what time do the Chiefs play? Because you said it twice. So, I mean, are you going to take the advice of a guy who's talking about football, but this is a baseball
You guys were
segment?
making fun of me about Mother's Day. I was just talking to Stephanie in the back room about NFL futures bets. We were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs.
We don't have a back room.
Yeah. Anyways, so
we only have one room.
So let's talk about the Kansas City Royals.
Tell all the secrets.
All right. Let's get back on track.
Off the rails here.
Steve, go ahead.
What a great segment, Hidden Jewels here. A lot of information.
We have hidden rooms here too.
So obviously, Jorge Soler, I don't mind it at all. I mean, he's very quietly hit 10 home runs on the year already. Shelby Hill has only actually allowed 5 home runs so far, but the knock on him against is that he just can't get guys out. He's made 7 starts already this season. 5 of those starts, he's allowed at least 4 runs. So, yes, this is a really good spot for him. A little bit lower odds. I actually like Mondesi at 325 to hit a home run as well. He actually has a lot more power than Soler, but it's a good spot for him overall. But, put that bet on the Kansas City Chiefs if you're Julian. Good segment.
We have one more here, Jules.
Let's see if he
Please do
gets
not
through it.
disappoint your mom.
Wow.
I'll try not to.
Get the right sport.
So people just don't really remember that you can bet on multiple sports in the same parlay. So we're going to take the 2 teams in the absolute strongest spots tonight and parlay their money lines. And those are the Houston Astros that we just talked about at -210. We can forget the 2.5 run line or the 1.5 run line. And then the Golden State Warriors to just beat the Portland Trailblazers straight up. We don't have to worry about the 7.5 points. You put these 2 teams together in MLB and NBA, you're coming out right around -109 there, which is, your standard juice on a bet. Astros, as I've said, I think this might be the strongest spot of the season for an MLB team, and the Warriors aren't dropping this game 1 at home, even without Kevin Durant. Get close to even money on it. I really love combining sports here, which people don't always remember they can do.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. How do you feel about it,
Yeah, it
Steve?
is cool, Emerson.
Julian never fails to surprise me. He can't get his sports right, but sometimes he gives some pretty nifty bets. And actually, this one's pretty nifty. Look, when the Warriors have been favored, which is very often, they have a 78% win percentage on the year. Then when it comes to the Astros, they're writing condolence cards and sending it to the family of Ryan Carpenter as we speak because he's just going to get dismembered on the mound. So parlaying these 2 things. Look, parlays at the end of the day, I'm a total sucker for parlays, but in the long run,
you're a total sucker, period.
They're calm down, Kansas City Chiefs. In the long run, they're losing bets, but this is one of those that you feel really good about. Parlaying is definitely not something you want to exceed 2 or 3, but I like this one a lot because, like I said, the Warriors are in a great spot. The Astros are in a great spot. So, yeah, I don't mind parlaying this one at all.
Free hidden jewel, Kansas City Chiefs under 10 wins this season.
Ooh, okay.
Wow. And there was Jeff. He couldn't even believe
Jeff
it.
is not
That was an extra one for us. All right, Jules, go do whatever it is you do on a Tuesday night.
What are you doing tonight, Jules?
Okay, let's not
Taking
make
my
this
mom to dinner.
about anybody's
2
mom.
days too
Better late
late.
than never.
Okay.
Carried you
Steve,
for
we
9
need
months.
you for some final thoughts and slated for picks after a quick timeout. You
can do that.
You're going to timeout.
Hello, Selvin here with your DraftKings Fantasy Flash. While 4 teams still have eyes on the Larry O'Brien Trophy, the rest of the NBA will be fixated on a handful of ping pong balls that could very well determine the next decade in the league as the NBA Draft Lottery goes down tonight. The New York Knicks, Cleveland Cavaliers, and Phoenix Suns have the highest odds to land the top overall pick at 14%, while the Chicago Bulls are right behind that trio at 12.5%. The Atlanta Hawks are the only other team in the league with double-digit odds to land the top pick at 10.5%. Of course, whichever team wins the lottery will then have the opportunity to select Duke superstar Zion Williamson, who is largely viewed as the most hyped NBA prospect since LeBron James. While Zion will be the story of Tuesday night, the Anthony Davis sweepstakes also looms large over the lottery as teams that land inside the top 5 would then have a very attractive trade chip to send to New Orleans in exchange for the All-Star big man.
We've made it. We've made it. Final block of our relaunch of the Sweat on May 14th. Free to bet day. And before we take off, we'll gather some final thoughts from these guys. DK Lobbs, Adam Levitan, Jeff Ulrich, Steve Buchanan.
So we've told you about the hourly boosts DK has been giving out on Free to Bet Day. This hour is Alabama at plus 500 to win the National Football Championship and go undefeated. So you can also get them at plus 200 to win the title. So is another Saban title a lock here, Adam?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, we're so far away from college football season, we have no idea what's going to happen. I would hesitate to lay any type of price on one team to win the national championship. That said, anytime these odds boosts are available, it's like a total print fest. I mean, I would just sit there and just wait for them to put up these odds boosts and just keep betting them all day every time they gave me one. So yeah, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to take the odds boost.
Steve, no-brainer here?
I don't know if it's a no-brainer, kind of like what Adam said. It's still so early right now to be doing that. But look, if there's a season they need to do it, it's going to be this one here. After this season, they are going to be gutted by their talent. They're probably going to lose 3 receivers, quarterback, a running back. I mean, this is going to be a very different-looking team 2 years down the line. But look, defensively, they're always in the mix there. They always do well in that spot. So, I mean, if there's a team you're going to feel good about under Nick Saban here, this is the one.
Jeff, I don't like to go against Nick Saban.
Well, don't. I mean, look, if you're betting college football in May, Jesse, you're probably like, you might as well just do it, right? Like if you're an Alabama fan, I mean, this is good. Like Adam said, just take the boost, because if you're doing this already, you're getting better odds. You aren't going to get better odds than this. Alabama, and look, it's Alabama, right? So you could either take the undefeated odds, or you could just bet them to win the title, because even if they lose a game, they're probably going to get into the playoffs. So, like Steve said, this is kind of like last gasp maybe for this dynasty here. So I guess it's not a bad bet. It's not really a number I'd hit up this early in the season, but yeah.
Guys, American sports aren't the only thing you can play on DK Sportsbook. So we ask our resident Canadian, Jeff Ulrich, the Calgary Stampeders, major favorites to win the Grey Cup at plus 250. Can anyone stand in their way? If so, who? Come on.
Who are they?
Yeah, first of all, thanks to my producers. I had to actually research the off-season transactions for the CFL today because of this question.
Oh, I feel sorry for you.
Awesome. But I didn't have anything better to do. I'm not gonna lie. But
we know.
Look, I mean, the Stampeders they're the favorites. They re-signed Bo Levi Mitchell. Their quarterback. That's the quarterback, by the way. Big part of their team, so that's a good thing. I still don't like this number at all. The BC Lions signed Mike Riley, basically the league MVP at quarterback. They got the best defense in the league with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, all in the same division. I think if you're going to make a futures bet on the CFL, you just go with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, because they're in the other division, and it's so weak, and you're getting way better odds. So I don't like the Stampeders at all at this price. BC is probably a better bet, and Hamilton way better odds.
Adam, can you name 3 Stampeder players?
No, but I remember from an old show we used to do, you got to get Jeff to say the word Atlanta Falcons in Canadian accent.
Do it!
No, it's not NFL season. I refuse.
Who cares?
That whole thing.
Listen, the show just came back. Why can't you do something fun for the audience? Just say it, you coward. Do it.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Sounds like such a dope.
Somebody clip that off. I'm going to save it.
Yeah, mark the tape, please.
Give me my ringtone. Okay.
All right, go. I mean, Steve, do you have anything to add here?
No.
Anything at all? Okay.
Whatever Jeff said, that was great. Thank you for doing the research. I feel like Julian. I didn't do any research for this.
Yeah,
but at least
cool.
I know the Kansas City Chiefs don't play in this league. At least I know that much.
Okay.
Yeah, don't tell Julian that.
Okay, guys, for anybody who was late to the party tonight, any notable bets that you guys like tonight, or maybe some interesting trends that you're seeing in any sport here, Steve?
Yeah, definitely going back to baseball here, which, Adam Levitan's not going to be watching tonight because, basketball, everything. Definitely like the Tigers and the Astros to go over 10.5 runs in this spot. We were just talking about how this is such a great spot for the Astros overall. Ryan Carpenter taking the mound. Just not a good pitcher by any means. It's just been absolutely ravaged when he's on the mound. So I like this spot going over, and I think it's going to be one that, honestly, the Astros could almost do by themselves. If they really want to. Tigers' bullpen has not been very good at all either. So if Carpenter ends up going short, which you probably expect to happen, they can tee off against that bullpen as well.
Adam, the notable bet you're looking at maybe in basketball?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go under in this Warriors-Blazers game. I think that the Warriors will play well, but I think the better side is this Durant-less stat for the Warriors, where it's going under almost 70% of the time, and that's a really big trend in the Warriors' favor for under.
Jeffrey, what you looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, just on the hockey side of it, I was still waiting to get confirmation who's going to start net for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. I think it's actually kind of a big deal. If Peter Mazurek starts, I'd probably just bet the Bruins, because I just don't think he's 100% healthy, and I don't think he can stop the Bruins offense right now. If McElhaney starts, I think the under might actually be a bit better bet, because I do think that he's in a spot where he's played well in the playoffs already. He's a veteran. I don't think it'll rattle him too much. I still like the Bruins side, but I think I'd like the under better as a bet if McElhaney started for the Hurricanes.
All right, so now we're going to go to slate approved picks for the
We have a
evening.
couple minutes to take your time.
Give us the best bet of the night, unless that was them that you were just giving us. I have no idea if
No,
we're
it wasn't.
all on the same page or not.
No, that was
so we're
different
not.
sport. It's
I'm
okay.
not. Okay, Levitan, you have NBA here. Best bet of the night in the NBA.
All right, well, I just gave the under, so why don't we go
Yeah, give
ahead
me
and
something
just
else.
stack it up with a parlay, and I'll say Warriors, lay the wood with the Warriors, and take the under. 100% lock, can never fail.
And can you just clear up for everybody that box with the tiny person driving the car is not for you?
Yeah, so let me explain the box. I know we have a little bit of time here. The situation is, A, I can't put it together. I mean, it was a gift from my son. A, I'm incapable of putting it together. B, I have nowhere to actually store it. We live in the city. C, he has nowhere to drive it because we live in the city where there's just actual cars everywhere. So I blame the person who gave me this gift for the reason it's been here for the last literally 8 months.
Please get him in that and put it on in real traffic and take some video. I mean, make sure it's safe, but like that would be great.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Real quick, she's always a staple of every video you do for us here. Where is your dog?
Yeah, my kids are actually going to bed right now, and she goes and lies with them while they kind of fall asleep. So she's she's a really special beast. I'll say that.
That's actually ridiculously adorable.
So cute.
Yeah, super cute. Okay, so Jeff, do you have a sleeper pick in the NHL, or is that what you just gave us? If not,
No, I got more. My dog's farting in my office the entire show. So.
Do you have him with you?
He's gone now. I actually just let him out, but he was literally thinking
was
the
dead.
entire
I'm glad you didn't pass out.
No, I'm used to it, I guess. On top of the Bruins and the under, which you could definitely double up on tonight, I like just betting the Sharks. I think of all the hockey bets that we talked about, I like betting the Sharks for the outright. We mentioned they're the deepest team. They're getting solid goaltending. I think they're going to take down the Blues, and you're getting them at a price right now you're not going to be able to get if they win their next contest against the Blues. I think they're the best team left. I think the San Jose Sharks as a future bet is a really nice hit right now.
Steve, both of those are extremely difficult to follow. Good luck.
No, that's fine. I don't care. I'm just here to appease the people. I think the Marlins and the Rays under 6.5 runs is a really good shot tonight. Marlins Park is one of the best pitchers park in the league. We got two really good pitchers in Morton and Smith going tonight. So I think this is going to be a lot of strikeouts in this game. Not a lot of offense. So under 6.5 runs looks very, very appealing in this spot.
All right, that's a show. We are back again tomorrow night, our usual time at 6 o'clock Eastern on the DraftKings Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages, and of course the DK Live app, which you should download.
And a special treat for those who are brave enough to watch the Sweat tomorrow. Yankees manager Aaron Boone will join the program.
Yeah.
So, because their game got postponed tonight. I know he's busy tomorrow, but we're going to talk to him around lunchtime and save that conversation for you at night.
Ooh.
Please keep an eye on those free-to-bet day odds boosts. We've got a fresh one for the 7 o'clock hour on DraftKings.com, right? Meow, peace, message input. I should stop
No, don't
reading
read that.
the prompter.
We'll see you tomorrow.